Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today it's our first vlog, local vlog, and I'm gonna use Despia today, not Chimera, which is something new. I haven't played this deck in such a long time. I haven't played the deck for months, so excuse any misplays I do in the early rounds. Um, I hope you will enjoy it, and at the end of the video, I will have the deck profile of the deck. And honestly, give me your thoughts at the end of the video. If you like it or dislike it, it's something new. I will try, and yeah, enjoy the deck. Okay, so round one we play versus heroes, and if you have seen an old deck profile of mine, it's actually the same guy, and thankfully I win dice roll, so I will choose to go first. And Hero is a difficult matchup because it is considered the anti-branded deck, because it can give you Angel that can shut off all your spells. So it's important to win game one, because if you lose game two, you at least have game three. And as you see, opening play, I discarded Quem for High Spirits, and I did that to play around Imperm, which he had. So that was actually a smart play to dodge Imperm, because my hand did lose to Imperm. Um, but I had the Branded Red to dodge it. And as you see, I do standard combo. I had the Puppet in hand, so Grand Guignol can send other stuff for follow-up. I set the Retribution because I already have a Branded Red. And I add Nalbaz for follow-up with the Titanic Light I sent off Grand Guignol. And that's basically Puppet Lock in game one. I do it in the draw phase to play around maybe talents. And I give him Puppet, I reborn Cartesia. So that's basically over. But he wants you to play it out. He activates Reinforcement of the Army. He adds Stratos. Oh, actually, he adds Liquid Soldier, but he normal summons Stratos. Stratos adds Faris. He sets one card, I think. Uh, he's reading some of my cards. He sends one card, the passes. In the main phase, I activate Cartesia. And on summon, I activate Borrelot Furious. And he cannot respond thanks to Lost, so Book of Eclipse gets destroyed. Here I summoned Lobellion because I forgot I used Cartesia just now, and I wanted to go for Light and Darkness Dragonlord, but I was stupid. He opens his starting play in game 2 by Foolish Barrel, which is basically full combo. And my hand is really bad. I have two Bestials, two Super Polis, and a Branded Fusion, which is not the greatest because if I choose to Bestial here, which I do, I play heavily into talents. And if he gave me the Angel though, I couldn't activate Super Poly, so I'm in a very difficult spot. Um, but he had talent, and now it's one unknown in hand. He had a Neos, and unfortunately, the unknown in hand was Liquid Soldier. Uh, that's very unlucky. So now he draws two more cards. And he adds Miracle Fusion. It's a good now that you see the combo of heroes. It's another fusion deck. Here I get punished heavily by activating Saronir there. Maybe I should have done it in the end phase of his, but I was afraid of getting Dark Cloud plus Angel, and I had no outs because I was playing Lad instead of Dracostapelia, but I was playing Garura. But it's not the end of the game if you super poly for Garura, if you have just one card. And I, of course, don't have a Brand Fusion anymore because he uh, used Triple Tactics Talent to get rid of it. But thankfully, I draw Albion, which is good because it synergizes with the Saronir in my hand. And I draw a Brandon White, which is useless. I go into Garura, I trigger Saronir of Brand Fusion, and his last card in hand was DD Crow. The last unknown was DD Crow. Yeah, that's basically over because now my hand is Super Poly plus Saronir. Actually, it's Super Poly plus Brandon White, which does nothing because I don't have an Albaz, and I have just set Super Poly. he normal summons Stratos to pop my Super Poly. He uses 10 monsters with Miracle Fusion to go into the Wake Up. And I'm not scooping because I might draw maybe a Bestial of Garura draw and save my turn. He draws more cards, he activates Fusion Destiny to go into his second Destiny Hero. And I draw nothing, so basically that's game over. Game 3, I go first again. I normal summon Albert. My hand was Thrust, Fusion, Duplication, and another card I don't remember. I activate Brand Fusion, which is fine, and I summon Albion, into Lubellion, into Mirror Jade. Here I make a massive misplay because I don't use Mirror Jade effect to send Titanic Lad in order to summon Quem, and I don't have a light spellcaster access to go into the Puppet Lock. I set 3 and pass, and I activate the Fusion Duplication, and here I do a great misplay because I could do this in a very different way. I could send Cartesia and Albaz, but I was really stupid and I did it wrong. So I had to activate Mirror Jade in order to block my lad and then chain Albion to give him Puppet, which is still fine because it's still Puppet Lock plus 2 Omni Negates, but it was so scuffed. And I got really mad at me because I don't usually make those mistakes. But yeah, he summons Faris, I chain the Omni Negate because it's mandatory. I activate Albion, but I have to negate it because, as I said, it's mandatory. But basically here we attack for game with a bunch of big monsters, and that's more than 8,000. So GG's. Round 2 we play versus PK, who is a new guy at our locals, and beautiful mat as you see. And I think I lose the dice roll here. He normal summons Sturgate going into Sangan, and I know what that means. It means he can add us. He activates Cherubini, but then he wants to activate Sangan. I said, yeah, sure, whatever. I will not be that guy in Sark, especially a new guy at our locals. But yeah, I knew he would add us Blossom, and maybe I would regret it in the future. But it's fine. My hand is not the greatest right now. I remember it was Super Poly Plus opening, but the other card's not so good. He basically adds double Fogblade, which is not a great PKN board, and he sets 3 passes, so now I have to play through 3 known interruptions. And branded opening, as I said, discard High Spirits, which is not a great sign, because it means I don't have a right type to activate brand High Spirits. He chains Fogblade, I chain Super Poly. I add Brand Fusion. Maybe I should add branded in white, but I really wanted my High Spirits to resolve, and I drew Saronir with off turn, and High Spirits gives you a good enough follow-up. I add Quem, which was a big mistake. I should add Albion to go into Brand White, because I remembered last minute that he had the second Fogblade, and the other Fogblade actually shouldn't be in the graveyard, but thankfully I remembered it a few minutes later, and I just said Brand White, I attack for some damage and pass. My turn definitely could be better here, but it's still early in the morning, and I was misplaying a lot until round 2. I asked the judge about the ruling with Fogblade, and I was right, because I was remembering Fiend's Chain, and it's basically the same card. So here he goes for Levianir, I think. And actually, the Fogblade being in the field is very important because he could revive his Link 3, which is the best card in his deck. So he goes for Levi, and I instantly go into um, Guardian Chimera, which maybe should be maybe Mirror Jade to get also follow-up for next turn. But he changed the sword, which can protect Levi, but I said if I pop both sword and Levi, it doesn't protect because it needs to be destroyed instead. So it's basically the same ruling with Hugin plus Fountain being destroyed at the same time. And the card that protects a card basically by removing itself. If both of them are getting destroyed, it cannot be protected. So basically, that was the ruling, and here he can activate the Link 3 of the Phantom Knights. He can get more follow-up. He can set his third Fogblade, which I was surprised seeing that, because normally he played two. Um, he had Storm Scales, but he had normal summoned. I had Brand Fusion back, and I drew Callby with Chimera, so I guess even if he had more Ash Blossoms, it wouldn't matter. I go into the battle phase to force the Fogblade, but he wanted to Fogblade his own monster, so I said do it in the start step because it doesn't prevent me from attacking the monster if you do it on declaration. Main phase 2, I activate Brand New White with Lost, so now I have a Searches as well, and Mirror Jade can out his monster permanently. I add Mercurier, which is a good monster negate in this situation, and Quem Damsel Buzz, and I set one card. He summons Thorn Scales, which is the easiest negate of my life. I activate Mercurier, and he decides it's enough, so he scoops game 1, and now we go into game 2. Game 2, he opens with two level 3 monsters going into Cherubini into the normal combo. Now I have a Bestial in hand, but because I also have Evenly, I know that this deck doesn't put up trap negates unless you go into the adventure package, but he obviously doesn't have it. So I hold Evenly until the very end of his combo, because it's better for me if he loses all his gas in hand just to get even lead. And as you see, he goes into Levy, he removes some stuff. Now he goes into the Ragged Gloves, dumps a sword. Sword can revive, he revives Cloak. He summons the trap, he goes into the Greaves. Now he goes into Dugares, and he wants to use the Reborn effect, which was weird, and then he goes into the Exis Armored package. And now basically it's important to remember that he can skip, that he actually must skip the next main phase 1. He goes into the rank 3, pops, goes into Dark Rebellion, and he immediately goes into Dark Requiem, which was a mistake. I think he should do this in my turn to get a pop of the link, but it doesn't matter. He immediately goes into the rank 7, and I go to the battle phase. Battle phase I activate evenly. For some reason he activates the full Arnold Exis to equip. One card that would get banished immediately face down, so I don't get why he did that. I say the materials go to the graveyard, and the cards must be banished face down. So now I have High Spirits in the main phase 2, and he has 3 Master Negates. Normally I wouldn't add the Cartesia here, but I was thinking that I was sure that he would negate with Dark Requiem. So I have a talent in hand, and that's what I want to do to get rid of his two other negates. But he also can reborn an Exis, which is actually very bad for him because I have a Titanic Lad in the graveyard, and Titanic Lad can summon Albaz. I add the Cartesia back, I set Brand Red, I summon Albaz, and with his master I also have a Mirror Jade now. So I have 3 sets, Mirror Jade, which is live, and he doesn't have main phase 1. I activate Kolba in the battle phase, just to trigger his Torn Scales. Torn Scales triggers my Grindinol as well. He wants to Ash Blossom, but then he doesn't have cards for Torn Scales. Quem sends whatever, and then Mirror Jade will banish his remaining card, and it will trigger my Quem as well. He doesn't scoop, so I have to play it out. I summon Grindinol selling 1, selling 2, Quem to Reborn. Kit to add Brand Fusion, and game. Round 3, as you see, versus tenpai. I wanted to send him first because now he's playing, but again I lose the dice roll. So I go first, and it's not very bad. I can still do full combo with High Spirits, and oh my god, High Spirits, as you see, every time it's the best card. Here maybe I could activate the Albion, but I wanted to do it in the draw phase just to play around draw. Brain Fusion sends Albaz plus Cartesia because Quem can reborn Cartesia to go into the puppet line. And I didn't go into Albion, I go into the Albion that reborns immediately because I have both the Daniclad plus Albion access, and because I had Puppet in hand, I fused with that. So in the draw phase, I give him the Puppet, I shotgun the opening, which I set off Albion, because I want to play around Raigeki, which he had. Terraforming goes into the field spell, of course, but I don't mind, he has a Puppet on his field. Um, Normal summon Spydra, which is basically the best thing that he can do around this situation. He sets 2 cards, so he can play my battle phase. I go into Mirror Jet in the end phase just to banish his Hydra and get more follow-up. High Spirits returns, I add Brand Lost, and now it's basically game over. I activate Brand Lost, I summon the second Quem. Quem dumps Albion, which is important to go into the LAD. I add the Spriggan Skid can add Brand Fusion. Brand Fusion goes into Rainbroom. And now with the Albion I sent plus the Lubelon, I go into 3 Omni Negates Lad. And against his 2 back row, they're nothing. Game 2 he sends me first again, which I thought he would do. I had side deck both for going first and for going second against this deck. I open High Spirits, and every time I open High Spirits plus the Dragon, it's full combo. Que can dump Albaz for next turn. I summon actually Cartesia from hand because I have an Albaz. I go into Titanic Lad to play through Nibiru because now I am at 4 summons. And summon Grignol, normal puppet line, you know. I add Albion, I send the puppet, I reborn Cartesia. I add with Tragedy that I send off Cartesia, I add an Aluber. I banish Mercurier and I add Spriggan's Kit. So now I have basically the same follow-up as I did last turn. And I do the exact same thing. It's against Tenpai, so Tenpai, if he doesn't open any hand traps and they open board breakers, it's easy to have an out. And notice that I kept the Lubelon on field so I can activate Cartesia with the Albion I added to go into the triple Omni Gate, which is Light and Darkness Dragon, which is very important because against this deck, the only thing that he can do is activate Dark Holes and Raigekis, and he knows that he can't out it, so he scoops. And the final round is versus Snake Eye Finsmith Fire Kings, and thankfully I win the die roll, and I start with Fusion Deployment. Here I have a hand that can play around maybe 2 hand traps, and I have to choose which 2 hand traps are the most dangerous. And I figured that in this case, the most dangerous hand traps are Ash Blossom plus Impermanence. Impermanence on Cartesia, of course. Cartesian can protect me from getting Imper on other hand traps. Thankfully, he didn't have either of them. So he only has Nibiru, which he does now. But I'm really fine because I can chain Cartesia plus the Mirror Jade and go into Gragnol. So basically what this means is that he won't get puppeted this turn, but what I can do with the second Quem, which comes in handy many times, is do this exact play. So Albion sets Retribution, I add back Cartesia, and the Titanic Lad I sent off the Mirror Jade summons an Albaz, which fuses with his Nibiru, which triggers Quem, which will summon back my Mirror Jade. So now I have Mirror Jade plus Quem plus the counter trap against his 5 cards. And as you know, much follow-up to use because I can also reborn Cartesia and Albion will be sent to the graveyard for a fusion. And he normal summons Poplar, which is the worst normal summon of the deck. He adds the original Sinful Spoils, I activate Mirror Jade to banish, but he changed the Kirin to basically spell the traps on the Poplar, but I banish Kirin, which is good. He wants to activate original Sinful Spells, but I had activated Cartesia, and I was waiting for a response actually. The only thing is I sent Garura because I wanted the card draw to discard with Albaz in case I sent Rainbroom, which is exactly what I did. he starts with Finsmith, which basically gives him either Caesar or Desiree, and if he has a good hand, it gives him both. He summons Necroquip, and then he activates the Finsmith Engraver. And the only reason is I used Bestial here because the line he was doing was equipping the Link 2 from the field if he had a bad hand. So I put him on better have it, and actually he didn't have it. So Sharner was a good play. Here with a lot of darkness, I draw Thrust plus Evenly. And Evenly, of course, is very bad because you can't activate it in this field. I activate Cartesia, he activates Droplet. So I go into the battle phase and I attack for some damage. And in the battle phase, Super Poly for Granignol. This is basically access to Brand Fusion, but I send Fusion first and not Retribution, because if he chose to Bestial while I had Retribution, I wouldn't play around both Bestial plus as Blossom, which he had as Blossom, and Thrust sets Duplication. The other card is Branded Red. I summon Quem because he activates Magnamut. And here, the only reasonable thing to send off of Quem is Mercurier, because you need to send a Master in this scenario, and because you will add another Bestial, sending Albaz or Cartesia doesn't give you any value, because he can banish immediately. So I force him to banish Saranir with this, and he summons back the Engraver. I hold my negate. It doesn't really mean anything to do it now. I need him to go into a choke point, and he normal summons the Poplar again. So that puts me in a very difficult spot, but not the most difficult, because he still has to commit to some stuff. And he goes into the Moon. After that, he goes into the Requiem, but he doesn't play two Engravers, so it doesn't do as much. And so I'm not triggering anything right now, neither Quem, neither my duplication. I need him to go into more stuff. He goes into Oak, he summons back his Poplar. So now I was thinking maybe I should do it now, but I was waiting for the summon of Flamberts to banish Flamberts, and now I'm very happy that I get to do this play again. I did this play for the first time in the finals of the Greek Open Regional, and it actually won me the game. So how it goes: Fusion Duplication, banish Brand Fusion, sending Tragedy and going into Lubellion, even though you don't have cards in hand, but because you add the card in hand, Quem can summon back Albaz, which fuses with his Link Monster. Mirrorjet banishes this. He triggers his Boldrick, but it doesn't matter, so that's basically game because I summon my second Mirrorjet. So thank guys for watching, and next is the deck profile of the deck I used. So guys, as you saw, we won the local, and I will show a quick deck profile of our experience today. Standard 3 Aluber and 1 Tragedy. Not standard, you played 2 Quem, and it came up every game, so very good. 2 Blazing Cartesia, also very good. You don't play 3 in this version. And imagine I'm playing 51 cards, I don't want to play more. 3 Albaz, 1 Spriggan's Kit, and 2 Mercurier. 2 Mercurier is necessary because you play Allure, as you saw. 3 Standard, 3 also Standard, 1. You don't play White Forest in this version, so you can play 1, because you always send Lubellion. Unlucky. I play 1 Fusion, I don't have money for 2 more. Joke. 3 High Spirits, very good card. As you saw, almost every game, if you open this, you have a very good follow-up. 3 Opening, very necessary. 2 Brand in red, because you need another fusion card to add with Aluber after you do your combo. 1 Brand in white, very useful, because you play the lad. 1 Lost, 3 Deployment, 3 Thrust, finally, I have my own. So, very good card to play. 1 Talent, you don't need more. 3 Allures, very good card in this build, gives you consistency. 3 Super Poly because I will never lose to Salamangreat again. Fuck this deck. 1 Call by the Grave for the Ash Blossom. 1 Gold Shark, 1 Foolish. Duplication for the Thrusts, and 1 Retribution. You might need 2 in the future, you will see. In the action deck, we play 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Albion, 1 Titanic Lad, 1 Lubellion. The card that should be banned, 1 Albion, and 1 Rainbroom, standard. 2 Great Mule because you play the High Spirits, and the second one is actually very important. 1 Quiritis as the Despia Fusion. 1 Furious for the stand matchups. We have a lot in our locals. Honestly, this card was so good today. As you saw in round 1, I almost fucked up misplaying because this can negate your own card because it's mandatory, but you can negate it with cards like Rainbroom if you have it. And shout out to Nightfall that showed the combo how to play through Shifter with this card, and it was actually a very good combo. So yeah, this card is amazing, and you should be playing it from now on. 1 Garden Chimera, just for the stand matchups. I never usually make it, but I did make it in our locals today, so it was good. And finally 1 Garura for the Salamangreat, as I mentioned. And side deck, 3 Kaijus because we have poor release and stuff generally that lose to Kaijus, so I played in the side deck. I don't have space in the main for this. 1 Magnamut and 1 Saddle Dragon for the stand matchups. 1 Duster for the stand matchups. 3 Dark Ruler for combo decks because it's very good because you can search it with Thrust. Same goes for Evenly. This card is basically good against every deck except Salamangreat. 1 D-Bear to set off Thrust against the Tenpai if you get Shifter, for example. Daruma, also very good against Snake Eye. And lastly, 1 Peekaboo. I didn't open it today, but it's still very good in this deck. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and see you next time.